Hi, I'm Tess Michaels, the founder and CEO of Stride Funding. We are focused on tackling critical shortages in industries like healthcare. Ultimately, what we're focused on doing is growing the pie of people pursuing the field by removing the barriers to entry. I often tell my team, unlike most products where if they're bad, you can return them, student loans don't work that way. And we're in a moment in time where if we look at industries like healthcare, we are expecting a over 3 million person shortage just by 2026. And if we look at our calendars right now, we are in 2024. So this is really upon us and the consequences are serious. They're like closing down wards and not being able to serve patients. And so right now, what a lot of talent acquisition teams are doing is using bandages to stop the bleeding. And that includes sign-on bonuses or contract labor, which ultimately just create a leaky bucket because they're plugging holes, but not actually solving for long-term retention. So where we really focus our time is how do we incentivize retention after hire and help employers meet talent early via employer-sponsored student loan programs. I describe it oftentimes as, almost like what ROTC did for the military. In a way, what we are doing is also building a movement in industries where there's real purpose and giving this talent knowledge early that they are making a multi-year commitment where they will get their tuition sponsored for their training as long as they are really bought in. And when we think about what it means to be bought in, you look at a sign-on bonus, for example, and you see a 5% increase in retention. On our platform, we see a 94% increase in retention via employer-sponsored student loans. So this is not incremental. It is a meaningful difference and change in behavior. And the way that it really works is we would take a healthcare system and say, give us your top 2 to 3 roles that you're looking to fill. And they'll say nurses and rad techs. We will then build a pipeline of talent, students who are just a few months from graduation, so you can fix your talent needs in the very short term, a year from graduation and 2 years. We will also help with all the vetting on our platform, which includes essays, transcripts, interviews, and all focused in schools that we believe are good quality that the employer is aligned on. Once an employer has said yes to talent, we then facilitate signing a sponsorship agreement, which shows that the individual is committed to joining the employer once they graduate, and the employer will pay down their student loans over time, but only once they start. While they're in school, of course, the school needs to get paid. And so we at Stride have raised millions of dollars to help fund that education directly. And we are also integrated with over 100 student loan servicers, so students have flexibility on the loan type that they take. And then on the back end, once they join, only as they're retained are those repayments happening. And at any point, if the individual leaves the employer, there's no clawbacks. We manage all of the rest. Final piece is brand matters, affinity matters. So we do a ton around building cohorts amongst the students, having wraparound career support, and constantly collecting testimonials to make sure we've reinforced the value created here. And it really does work. This is an example of one of our employers really emphasizing that this is helping reshape talent acquisition and talent retention by connecting the two in a sustainable way. But if I step back and think about my personal why, it is because of these people, these names, these faces that we over years have really been able to impact. And at Stride, we've supported over 10,000 students across hundreds of universities. And to us, this is a big moment in time where we really can shake up how workforce planning is done and do it in a way that directly impacts the real pain points of the everyday individual. And so if you are looking to grow your teams and do it in a way that really works and is sustainable, please reach out to me at tess@stridefunding.com or look at our website, stridefunding.com. And even test out one of our return on investment calculators and see what the fit would be like. Again, thank you so much for this time.
Great. Welcome, Tess.
Hi, Adil. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So let's jump into it. Tess, beyond acquisition, how does Stride Solutions enhance employee retention and satisfaction, particularly in critical roles like nursing?
Absolutely. First of all, the question in and of itself, if you think about it, is rare because most talent acquisition tools focus specifically on getting new talent into the door, but not necessarily actually incentivizing them to stay. And so our entire mission is around how do we tackle shortages by preventing leaky buckets, right? By inherently having talent acquisition and talent retention work in one seamless way through employer-sponsored student loans. And in a way, what we're really looking at are, how do you think about things that are not just transactional, but actually build real brand loyalty by thinking about the pain points of your future employees, which for many of them, if you need an education for the role type that you are hiring for, cost is such a big pain point. And it really does have an impact. You saw it just on the presentation earlier, but our improvement in retention is about a 94% increase compared to other tools like sign-on bonuses that have a 5% increase. And the last piece is when we talk about engagement, what does it do beyond getting you a new hire? It's all about how do you really get someone who's loyal to you as an employer. And so we do a lot of engagement around creating cohorts amongst the students, having wraparound career support. We're also building in financial wellness tools, all to really make sure that the experience of being a scholar on our platform means more than just the financing and the job, but really about building that community.
Love it. And Tess, can you provide examples of how Stride's employer-sponsored loan programs are tailored to meet the unique needs of different healthcare organizations?
Yeah, absolutely. So we really do work with our employer partners to customize the parameters of the program. So we were talking earlier about, for example, hospitals within the healthcare space. We will first identify what are the roles that you're really focused on, and they differ, right? We work with certain hospitals on their nurse anesthetists and their rad techs. Others, it will be nurses. And so the role itself is part one. Part two is what schools are eligible. Some healthcare systems really care about staying local, investing in the community around them. So schools within a 30-mile radius. Others want to build a more national brand and think about a broader swath. Third is we're really customizing the actual terms of the program. Are your pain points top of funnel, awareness and getting people into it, or do you have more retention issues? And we will look at what the recommended retention period versus tuition sponsored should be based on your specific needs. And then finally, you want to make sure these are good fits for you. These aren't just individuals who are exam ready, but really job ready. So we are also customizing what do you need to say yes to someone. Some employers will have essays, others assessments. Some employers will have interviews, and others will have, other tools to make sure, again, they're a good cultural fit for the system.
And how does Stride demonstrate a strong return on investment? And what other competitive advantages do these programs offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, the primary buckets we think about adding value on are 1, brand awareness, 2, talent acquisition, being able to reach that talent early. 3 is engagement while in program to make sure, again, that they're job ready. And 4th is the retention piece, right? And incentivizing that. And so the way that we demonstrate this is by right up front, leading with a return on investment calculator and saying, what do you do right now to attract talent? Do you offer sign-on bonuses? And if so, let's replace those transactional tools with this. Do you use contract labor when you have long vacancy rates and you need to earn revenue as an organization and plug those gaps? And if so, how does having a predictable pipeline reduce that? And lastly, what does your turnover look like today? And how can we show you that this boost in retention is going to drive meaningful savings for you as an organization? And so again, metrics matter, and customizing it to each system to make sure that it really is a good investment is important.
Let's bring on to the stage your VIP customer. I'd like to welcome Sean Korpolsky, Senior Manager of Campus Branding and DEI at My Eye Doctor. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. What factors led My Eye Doctor to choose Stride's program, and how have they been as a partner to you?
Yeah, so, there's really 3 core things that I'll speak to when I say, when we decided to kind of partner with Stride. The very first thing was, upon talking to Tess and learning about the organization, it was the really clear understanding that our foundational values were very similar from their corporation to ours, right? So that was first and foremost. Secondly, for us was that their main focus was students. Right. And that's our main focus as well. Right. So it was right there. We had 2 for 2. The third one was really the attentiveness of Tess and all of the employees within the organization. So knowing that we were going to be supported through this process was huge for us as well. So it was really a seamless decision for us to partner together.
Love it. And how has Stride's employer-sponsored student loan program influenced my eye doctor's approach to attracting and retaining new optometry talent while driving brand loyalty?
Yeah, I like to say that I don't necessarily know if it influenced, but it certainly enhanced how we started to recruit talent, right? So all of a sudden we were able to offer this substantial opportunity to students. It's really life-changing. For us, we're recruiting optometrists and it's $200,000 plus. And so the opportunity to cut that in half for a student is huge. And what that allows a doctor to do when they're coming out of school is not be riddled with debt and have that stress. Instead, they can actually concentrate on what's most important, and that's being a doctor and taking care of their patients. I would also say that it allowed us to think broader. We knew we always wanted to do something internally for our internal employees that were thinking about continuing on to be an optometrist. So I'm happy to say that we've partnered with Stride for not only this external program, but we're in the process now of building an internal program for our employees. And that would be paying for all 4 years of their schooling. So that's wiping out not just half of their debt, but wiping out completely all of their debt to go to school. What an amazing opportunity. And so you talk about how does that build that brand loyalty? Both of those situations are absolutely prime examples of somebody that we've changed their life, right? They now are very connected to us in a way that they maybe wouldn't have been in the past. So, both of those things have really allowed for us to provide that opportunity and give back to those students.
Love it. And how do you see programs like Strides shaping the future of talent management in the industry and healthcare more broadly?
Yeah, so I'll just go back to that life-changing moment, right? We're opening doors that maybe would have never been opened. There are so many barriers. $200,000, and that's just a ballpark. It could be higher than that, is a substantial amount of money. And there are students that maybe would like to be an optometrist, but can't even think about it, right? So the fact that we can open doors that maybe would have never been opened for somebody is huge. And we're in an industry, and Tess mentioned it earlier, right? Healthcare in general, I happen to just be on the optometry side of it, but healthcare in general, we are at a shortage. We do not have enough students graduating. We have to open those doors so that students can go through them and provide back into this healthcare world.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your time with us.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you being here. And Tess, how can the audience learn more about Stride or contact you?
Yeah, first of all, yes, thank you so much, Sean. That was just really wonderful hearing it from you, and it's been an amazing partnership over the years. So if you want to learn more, please reach out either directly to me at tess@stridefunding.com or go on our website at stridefunding.com and play with our return on investment calculators, just poke around, see some of the amazing student stories, and would really love to meet other employers looking at shaking up the TA space together.